My child, before the winds change, before the gates open, before a single door swings wide or a single name is spoken aloud, I want you to sit here, with me, in stillness. Not because I am withholding the future, but because I am preparing your heart to carry it. Before the storm of blessing breaks forth, I want you to hear the whisper, for in the whisper is where my voice rests, not in noise, not in chaos, not in the clamor for progress, in stillness, in silence, in sacred pause. I've seen your striving. I've watched you press forward. I've heard the prayers you prayed, with trembling hands and sleepless nights. But now, I whisper. And if you can tune your spirit to the frequency of my breath, you will never again fear the silence. You will learn that silence does not equal distance. It means intimacy, depth, formation, the root before the bloom. You have not missed me. You have not been left behind. You are not late. You are exactly where I need you to be. The ache you feel in your chest is not absence. It is awakening. The groaning is not failure. It is the sound of the Spirit interceding for you with words beyond language. So lean in. There is a moment before every miracle where all seems still. There is a breath before resurrection where everything looks like death. But I tell you, this stillness is holy. It is the pause before the curtain rises, the hush before the trumpet sounds. I have not called you to rush into this next season. I have called you to recognize it, the calling hidden in the quiet. I speak now not to your emotions, but to your essence. You are not just a body walking through time. You are a soul made from eternity, a vessel I breathed into, a name I spoke, long before you were born, and I have not forgotten that name. When you feel forgotten by others, remember this. You have never once escaped my attention. You've never been out of my sight, even when you tried to disappear. Even when you whispered, "I'm done," in rooms no one else entered. I was there. I held space for your pain. I wrapped silence around your cries. I caught tears no one else ever noticed, and I wrote them down. You see your delays as detours, but I see them as deepening. You see the years lost, but I see the soil turned, the seed hidden, the root forged in darkness. You see failure, I see formation. You are not who you were, and the pressure you've endured is not without purpose. Before I lift you up, I am anchoring you deep, because what I'm about to do in your life cannot be carried by the old version of you. It must rest on the one who has been with me, not performance, but presence. This is not a performance, beloved. I did not ask you to impress me. I asked you to walk with me. You think the proof of calling is in the platform, but the proof of calling is in the presence. The way you've chosen me when no one else was watching. The way you've clung to me when no one else had the answers. The way you've stayed when others walked away. That is what has made you ready, not popularity, not promotion. Proximity. I want to teach you how to live from the whisper, how to recognize my voice in a world screaming for your attention. Let me be the loudest one in your spirit. Let me be the voice that guides your waking hours and anchors your restless nights. Let me be the place you run, not out of fear, but out of joy. The oil of the hidden years I have been pressing you not to break you but to draw out oil. Do you understand what I mean, child? There is oil in your life now, rich, weighty, fragrant with worship that no one else has seen. Oil that came not from success, but from surrender. Oil that was born in the silent yes, in the aching stillness, in the private altar. This is the oil that changes rooms, not charisma, not strategy, not rehearsed words, but oil. The oil of perseverance, the oil of tears turned into trust, the oil of worship without applause. You carry it now, And soon I will begin to pour it out, publicly. But not before I speak to you quietly, because when I pour, I want you to know exactly where the oil came from, so you won't touch the glory, so you won't let the crowd redefine your calling, so you won't think for 1 second that this was earned, it was entrusted. A table in the wilderness, you think wilderness is punishment, but it's preparation. I have brought you here, why, to this place where nothing makes sense and everything feels slow, because here is where you learn my rhythm. Here is where you unlearn the rhythm of the world. Here is where you let go of the need to constantly prove yourself. Here is where I become enough. I know how hard the wilderness has been. I know how you've questioned my love in the silence. I know how you've wondered if you missed the moment. But I tell you, this is the moment, not the stage, not the miracle, not the breakthrough. This, the table in the wilderness, is where you are fed with manna from my mouth. This is where identity is restored. This is where your spirit is revived. This is where you learn that being loved is not a reward. It is your root. The whisper that wakes the dead. I am whispering to you, child, not because I am hiding, but because I am near. Do not confuse my softness with distance. I am close. So close that I no longer need to shout. And in this whisper, I am calling things back to life. The dreams you buried, the prayers you stopped praying, the hope you packed away because it hurt too much to hold. I am speaking to them again. Like Lazarus, they have only been sleeping, and now, by my voice, they are awakening. Do not resist the rising. Do not fear the fluttering of resurrection. It feels like discomfort now, but it is divine movement. It feels like breaking, but it is the breath of God returning to your spirit. You are being awakened, not abandoned. The ache you feel, that holy tension, that strange stirring in your spirit, it is not abandonment. It is awakening. It is the spirit within you rising. It is your heart remembering its original song. I did not plant a purpose in you just to watch it wither. I did not anoint you only to ignore you. I did not call you by name only to forget you in the waiting. No, I have never looked away, not once, not ever. And now, my child, I want you to listen. Put down the list, lay aside the plan, close the doors of comparison, turn off the volume of what everyone else is doing, and come sit. Come breathe. Come rest, for I'm about to do something new, but first, I must make sure you know who you are when no one is clapping, because who you are in the quiet is who I crown in the light. Let me be your whisper. Let me be your rhythm. Let me be your voice of direction in the fog. Let me be the peace that silences your storms. Let me be the oil poured out of your hidden years. Because this storm that's coming, it's not to destroy you, it's to display you. But only after you've heard me in the whisper. My child, let's go back to the silence. Not the kind you chose, but the kind that chose you. The kind that fell like a heavy cloak over your prayers, the kind that lingered even when you did all the right things. The silence that made you question not just your purpose, but your place in my plan. That silence, yes, even that, was holy. You didn't misunderstand me. You didn't fail. You didn't take the wrong path. You simply stepped into the part of the journey where words give way to work, and visibility gives way to formation, because the loudest things I do in you often happen in the quietest places. The most eternal things are forged when no one's watching, when no one is celebrating, when it feels like heaven's voice is still, and your obedience echoes back unanswered. That's not rejection. That's refinement, hidden, not buried. Let me speak to what has weighed on you for so long. You were not buried. You were planted. And like any seed placed in good soil, growth began in darkness. Roots reached down before fruit could ever reach up. I hid you, not because you weren't valuable, but because you were too valuable to expose too early. You thought hiddenness meant you missed something, but hiddenness was my strategy, to protect what I was building in you, to keep you safe while I forged depth, to train your ears to hear my whispers, not the world's noise. In the silent years, you learned to recognize my presence without performance. In the silent years, you discovered what it means to worship without reward. In the silent years, you learned what faith really is, not seeing, but still staying. The silence was sacred. No, you questioned my love. I know you wondered why I didn't respond sooner, louder, clearer. But if I had answered with noise, you would have built your trust on noise. I needed you to know me beyond answers, to love me beyond outcomes, to stay, even when everything in you wanted to run, because, child, that is trust, not shallow hope, but deep-rooted, weather-tested, silent-year trust. You passed the test you didn't even know you were taking. You passed it by remaining, by choosing to believe when there was no visible reason to, by planting your feet when everything else said walk away, by showing up in secret places and not for applause but for alignment. That obedience? That's what made you dangerous to the enemy. That's what qualified you for the next. That's what turned your silence into substance. Trust is proven in the quiet. I trusted you with silence, my beloved. I trusted you with obscurity. I trusted you with unanswered prayers. Because I knew the weight of what I placed in you, and in that trust, I was watching. I saw the worship with tears still fresh. I saw the gratitude in the midst of unanswered longing. I saw the posture of your heart when you gave with no return. I saw the way you refused to let bitterness root, even when it tried. Those moments that no one celebrated, heaven stood still for them. Not one act of surrender went unnoticed. Not one whispered yes was lost in the quiet. I recorded them all, not just as history, but as prophecy, because your secret obedience was writing the script of your public impact. You've been shaped, not silenced. You asked me why the doors remained shut. You asked me why others moved forward while you stood still. You asked me why the timeline stretched so far beyond what you imagined. But the delay wasn't denial. The stillness wasn't punishment. It was sculpting. I was shaping your voice, and not to impress, but to impact. I was forging your heart, not to perform, but to carry presence. I was expanding your capacity, so that when the weight of glory rests, it won't crush you. Because what you are about to walk into requires wholeness. Not perfection, not polish, but wholeness born in the secret place. When obedience echoes in the dark, let me remind you, you obeyed when there was no echo. You gave when there was no applause. You loved when there was no response. You prayed when the heavens felt locked. You trusted when the evidence said otherwise. And now, because of that, you're ready. Not ready by the world's measure, but by mine. Because I don't measure readiness by popularity. I measure it by posture. And your posture, though weary, has stayed surrendered. You didn't harden. You didn't shut down. You didn't abandon your altar. You stayed. And that staying, that's why the shift is coming. Because I know I can trust you with what others might misuse. I know I can pour into you without fear of pride distorting it. I know the weight won't destroy you because I've tested your foundation. The stillness was strategic. Every delay taught you the rhythm of peace. Every closed door taught you to follow my cloud. Every unanswered question carved a deeper well of discernment. You don't even realize how much wisdom you've gained in the stillness, but soon, you will. Because the time is coming where what was once internal will become visible, and when it does, you won't walk into it seeking to prove yourself. You'll walk in knowing you've already been approved. You'll walk in with a voice that carries the weight of years. A voice not built in conference rooms but in caves. A voice not sharpened by applause, but by presence. That's the kind of voice that breaks chains. That's the kind of presence that changes rooms. That's the kind of authority I'm releasing in you. Your tears were not in vain. Let me be clear. Your tears were not wasted. I saw everyone, and not one has dried without purpose. You thought the soil of your life was soaked in delay, but it has been watered by worship, and harvest is coming. Not just for what you did, but for what you endured. Not just for what you accomplished, but for what you overcame. The silent years weren't empty. They were pregnant with purpose. And now the labor is nearly done. What's coming is not a reward, it's a reveal. I'm not rewarding you for surviving. I'm revealing you because you've been formed. This is not a gift for your performance. This is a release for your faithfulness. You didn't earn it, you aligned with it, you didn't demand it, you developed into it. The next doors won't open because you pushed. They'll open because you're carrying the key formed in silence, in surrender, in trust. You have not been forgotten. Let me end this part with truth you must write on your heart. You have not been forgotten. I have not overlooked your life. I have not passed over your name. I have not grown tired of your prayers. I have not silenced my plans for you. I have been watching. I have been shaping. And now, I am beginning to move. And when the shift comes, as it surely will, you will not be shocked. Because somewhere deep in your spirit you always knew, the silence was never the end, it was only the start. My beloved, you've asked me many times through the years, why did it have to be this way? And though I've answered in whispers, today I speak plainly. Not to justify the pain, but to honor it. Not to diminish your suffering, but to reveal its sacredness. I want you to see what I see. I want you to look back not through the lens of trauma, but through the lens of truth. Because what you thought would destroy you has actually delivered you. What you feared would bury you has birthed something eternal. What felt like a curse was always a calling. The weight that formed the vessel, you thought the pressure meant something was wrong, but I was shaping the vessel. You thought the breaking meant you failed, but I was increasing your capacity. You thought the silence meant distance, but I was closer than your breath, holding you when you couldn't hold yourself. This pressure, this weight, this holy breaking, it was never punishment. It was the fingerprint of a potter who knew that the vessel must match the value it's meant to carry. And you, beloved, are meant to carry much, not shattered. Shaped, you see the cracks in your heart and call them brokenness. I see them and call them preparation. I do not waste pain. I do not allow suffering as some random test. I am intentional in everything I permit. Every crushing was a carving. Every loss was a loosening. Every valley was a vineyard. The things that broke your heart did not break my promise. They broke the false things, the illusions of control, the comfort of certainty, the identity built on approval. And in their place, I built trust. I built truth. I built depth. Not the kind that can be taught in classrooms, but the kind that can only be formed in caves. The cave is where kings are made. You didn't see the cave as holy, but it was. That hidden place where you cried without answers, where you questioned your worth, where you felt the walls closing in. That was your womb, a womb for your calling, a cocoon for your voice, a sanctuary for your surrender. All throughout my word, I've formed leaders in caves. David hid there. Elijah wept there. Paul wrote from prison walls. Why? Because the cave strips everything except me. And when you learn that I am enough there, you can carry anything anywhere. Pain has a purpose. Let me speak directly now to the wounds you still hide, the betrayal that tore through your trust, the loss that gutted your joy, the prayer that went unanswered for years. I saw it all. I did not ignore it. I recorded it, and I stood with you through it. I never turned away. not for a moment. Even in your numbness, I stayed. Even in your questions, I listened. Even when you said, "Where are you?" I whispered, "Right here." You see, child, in pain has a voice, and if it is not surrendered, it becomes your identity. That's why I had to walk with you through it, not just to heal it, but to transform it, so it would no longer speak, "You're forgotten," but "You're fortified." No longer "You're too late," but "You're right on time." No longer "You're unworthy," but "You're anointed." You were not crushed, you were pressed. Remember this, even when you were pressed, you were not crushed. Even when you were struck down, you were not destroyed. Even when you felt like giving up, something in you kept rising. That was me. Not a distant deity watching from afar, but the very breath in your lungs, the quiet strength beneath your shaking hands, the steady hand guiding your unsure steps. You thought it was your own grit, but it was my grace, clothing you in courage you didn't even know you had. The oil came from the pressing. Every olive must be crushed to release oil. So why did you expect your anointing to come without pressure? You wanted the oil of wisdom, so I let confusion drive you to me. You asked for deeper discernment, so I let the noise strip you of every voice but mine. You prayed for humility, so I led you where applause could not find you. And now you carry it, that unmistakable oil. You didn't earn it. You endured it, and that oil will break chains. It will unlock hearts. It will pour healing on wounds that once mirrored yours. This is what authority looks like. Real authority doesn't come from titles. It doesn't come from platforms. It comes from private surrender. It comes from long nights with no answers and yet another whispered yes. It comes from laying down your plans and letting me burn away every lesser ambition. You carry that kind of authority now, not the kind that needs to be defended, not the kind that has to be announced. The kind that shifts the atmosphere when you walk in a room, the kind that doesn't raise its voice because it's been raised in fire, the kind the enemy fears because it wasn't bought with shortcuts, it was bought with tears. I needed you whole, not hurried, child. If I had answered you when you first asked, if I had opened the door before your heart was healed, you would have carried the pain into the promise. You would have walked in, needing the platform to prove your worth. You would have looked to the opportunity for your identity. You would have mistaken momentum for maturity. So I waited, not because I was reluctant, but because I was refining. I needed you whole, so that when I gave you influence, it wouldn't break you. So that when I gave you blessing, it wouldn't own you. So that when I gave you favor, you'd use it to lift others, not just yourself. You are the testimony. Now the breaking didn't ruin you. It revealed you. You are the living proof that resurrection is real, that joy can grow from ashes, that peace can return after the storm, that identity can be restored after betrayal, that faith can survive silence. You are the walking testimony, not of perfection, but of perseverance, not of flawless faith, but of faith that stayed. And that, my beloved, is rare. That is holy. That is what I'm about to honor publicly. What's being built can't be shaken. Let me end with this, child. What I'm building through you now will not be fragile. It won't be built on sand. It won't shatter when the storms come. Because it was built in storms. Because it was shaped in fire. Because it was formed in the furnace of surrender. This next season is not for the faint of heart. But you are not faint. You are forged. You are flame-born. You are steady because you stayed when others left. You believed when hope grew thin. You worshipped when it hurt. And now I say, rise. The breaking is over. The building has begun. And what I build, no man can tear down. My child, you're not imagining it. That sense you've carried lately, that flicker deep in your spirit. It's real. That quiet inner trembling, that subtle but unmistakable sense of movement inside you, is not wishful thinking. It's a signal. A holy signal from my spirit to yours, and it's saying, it's time. Time for what was once invisible to begin to take shape. Time for what you've carried privately to begin unfolding publicly. Time for what has been planted in pain to now rise in purpose. Because the shift has begun, not in chaos but in quietness, not in explosive drama but in the subtle winds of alignment. You are no longer just enduring, you are emerging. Heaven moves first, before anything changes in the natural. It shifts in the spirit. That's why your atmosphere feels different. That's why the same places feel unfamiliar now. That's why your spirit has started to feel full, yet restless. Because I've already begun. Heaven is already in motion, and you're sensing it before you're seeing it. You've been faithful in stillness. Now I am rewarding your stillness with sensitivity. You're not waiting for me to move. You're recognizing that I already have. Alignment. Before acceleration, you thought the next season would begin with acceleration, but it begins with alignment. Before I rush you forward, I bring you into order, spirit, soul, and body. I don't want you running with fractured motives or divided affections. So I've been aligning you first, even in the background. Every recent discomfort you've felt has been an adjustment. Every conversation that unsettled you was a calibration. Every door that closed without warning was alignment. I'm not taking from you, I'm freeing you. Freeing you from what cannot come where you're going. Freeing you from relationships that were wrapped in familiarity but void of purpose. Freeing you from rhythms that once sustained survival but cannot support calling. This is not loss. This is sacred alignment. The door is opening quietly. You expected the next door to come with loud announcement. But my movements are often quiet, like the turn of a key inside a locked room. That's what's happening now behind the scenes, in your soul, in the spirit. The key is turning, the hinges are shifting, the door is opening, and you will walk through it, not because you forced it, but because you were faithful in waiting for it. The very thing you thought you'd have to chase, will call for you, not because you need the platform, but because I'm placing you in position. Watch for the signs you've asked me to confirm, and I will. Not in confusion, but in clarity. Not in riddles, but in patterns. So watch for repeated phrases. Watch for scriptures that echo. Watch for confirmations through unexpected mouths. Watch for inner peace that rises in situations you once feared. These are not coincidences. They are coordinates, and they're guiding you. Gently, surely, consistently. You won't need to strive to discern. You'll know, because your spirit has been trained to recognize me, even when the steps look unfamiliar. I've already gone before you. This path you're about to take, I've already walked it. I've already prepared it. I've already sent provision ahead of you. The connections you need are already arranged. The timing you feared is already settled. The answers you long for are waiting to be uncovered as you move. You are not stepping into the unknown. You are stepping into the ordained. I go before you. I surround you, and I will meet you at every step with grace, confirmation, and peace. The sound of the shift, listen closely. There is a new sound rising in your soul. It doesn't sound like striving. It doesn't sound like rushing. It doesn't sound like desperation. It sounds like readiness. It sounds like rhythm. It sounds like release. And you can feel it. Your prayers are shifting tone, from pleading to prophesying. Your posture is shifting, from waiting to walking. Your thoughts are aligning, from doubt to discernment. You're not trying to manufacture the moment. You're mirroring the move. People will say, Where did they come from? When the shift becomes visible, and it will, people will wonder. They will ask, where did they come from? How did this happen so suddenly? What changed? And you will answer, I came from the quiet. I came from the cave. I came from the place where God remembered me. They won't see the years. They won't hear the silence. They won't know the weight you carried, but you will. And that knowing will keep you grounded. That knowing will guard your heart from pride and keep your posture low. Because elevation without remembrance becomes entitlement. But when you rise with remembrance, you carry reverence, and that is what will distinguish you. You're not rising alone. This shift is not just for you, it's for others too, because I've designed your story to unlock theirs. Your movement is a signal to others. It's possible. Your rising is not just a reward, it's a revelation that obedience matters, that hidden years have weight, that the secret place leads to sacred release. So don't be afraid of visibility. Don't shrink back when others begin to notice. You're not being noticed because you demanded it. You're being seen because you were faithful when no one else was looking. Let them see. Let them hear. Let them feel what you carry, not for your glory, but for mine. The season has changed. Let me be clear. The season has changed. You're not in the same space spiritually. You're not in the same mindset emotionally. You're not carrying the same weight internally. This is not a subtle variation of your last chapter. This is a new era. You have crossed over, from silence to strategy, from pressing to purpose, from waiting to walking. This is not hype. This is holy transition, and it's happening, not in emotional highs, but in spiritual depth. The shift is not explosive, but it is eternal. You're ready. Not because you feel it, but because I said it. You may still feel unsure. You may still hear the echo of old doubts. You may still question if you're ready. But I am the one who qualifies. And I say, you are ready. Not because everything is figured out, but because your posture is surrendered. Because your heart is soft. Because your roots are deep. Because your eyes are on me. That's all I need. Step forward. Slowly, boldly, faithfully. So here's what I ask of you now. Step forward, not with haste, but with honor. Not with pride, but with peace. Not with answers, but with awareness. Pay attention, stay present. Keep your ears open and your heart yielded. And as you walk, I will confirm, I will align, I will guide, because the shift has begun, and you, my child, are walking it out, not as someone forgotten, but as someone faithfully remembered. My child, it is happening, not just the stirrings within, not just the signs around you, but the unveiling, the lifting of the veil, the moment where the quiet years begin to echo in visible places, where the hidden you, the faithful you, the healed you, begins to rise. And I want you to understand something. This is not promotion, this is placement. I am not rewarding your survival. I am revealing your formation. This is not a prize for the perfect. This is the release of the ready. You've been remembered, and now you rise. Rising is not a performance. It is a return. You are not rising to prove yourself. You are returning to who you always were, before fear, before rejection, before delay taught you to shrink. This is not a version of you built by hustle. This is the you I handcrafted before time began. The one the enemy tried to bury, the one trauma tried to erase, the one silence tried to hide. But here you are, still soft, still surrendered, still mine. And that's why I'm lifting you now. Your rise will be recognizable, but not imitable. You will feel it first in the spirit, a new boldness, a new confidence, a strange peace even in unfamiliar places. Then it will echo through your words. Then it will rest in the rooms you enter. Then others will begin to notice, not just what you carry, but how you carry it. You won't need to announce it. You won't need to manufacture it. You won't need to defend it, because real authority doesn't raise its voice, it raises atmospheres, and you carry that now. The weight you walk in didn't come cheap, and that's why it cannot be copied. It's not charisma, it's character, it's not hype, it's heaven. The crowd doesn't crown you. I do. When the crowd sees you, they'll call it sudden, they'll call it lucky. They'll wonder how you got here. But I want you to remember, they didn't crown you, I did. This isn't about their applause. This is about my assignment. I've not placed you where you are to be admired. I've placed you to be entrusted, with wisdom, with leadership, with words that heal, with influence that restores, with authority that breaks chains, not builds egos. This rise is not about elevation, but it's about impact, not about status. It's about stewardship. The anointing is for others. You asked me for blessing, but I gave you burden, not to weigh you down, but to shape you. And now that the anointing flows, it is not just for you. It is for others. There are people waiting on the other side of your obedience. There are lives attached to your yes. There are stories that will be rewritten because of what you chose to carry. And you will carry it well, because you've been broken right. You've been healed honestly. You've been formed deeply. This anointing is not just oil. It's offering, do not fear the light. You've been formed for it. You once feared visibility. You thought, what if I'm not enough? What if I fail publicly? What if I'm exposed? But child, I want you to know this. You are not being exposed. You are being entrusted. This light will not burn you because you're not standing in it alone. You're standing in me, and what's being seen now is not your strength. It's my spirit through you, the grace that sustained you, the truth that rebuilt you, the peace that now surrounds you. So don't shrink, don't apologize, don't deflect. Just carry it, softly, boldly, humbly, fully. I've surrounded you for this rise. You are not rising alone. I am sending people, not spectators but partners, not fans but family. They will recognize your sound. They will honor your history. They will pour into your spirit, not just your skill. These are divine alignments. They don't need to be chased. They'll be drawn by what you carry and the God you represent. You'll know them by peace. You'll sense them by spirit. You'll discern them by their fruit. And you will walk with them, not in competition, but in covenant. Remain rooted as you rise. Let me speak to your foundation. As your name is spoken, as doors begin to open, as opportunities increase, stay low, not out of fear, but out of reverence. Stay low in my presence. Stay low in your posture. Stay low in your heart. The higher you go, the deeper your roots must go too. Because I'm not interested in fleeting fame, I'm building eternal fruit. Stay tethered to me. Let intimacy remain your rhythm. Let holiness remain your aim. Let purity remain your pursuit. That's how you will last. This is not the peak. It's the planting. What you see now, the visibility, the movement, the opportunities. This is not your final arrival. This is planting ground. I am planting you in new spaces, new industries, new rooms, new generations. Not to blend in, but to build. You carry blueprints now. You carry language for people still lost in silence. You carry vision for those who've lost hope. You carry my spirit, and that shifts atmospheres. So take root, don't perform. Build, don't chase. Plant, and you will see fruit in places long forgotten by others. Your rise is my reminder. Your life now becomes a signpost. A reminder that I do not forget, that I do not overlook, that I see in secret and reward in my time. People will see you and say, if God did it for them, maybe he hasn't forgotten me. And that, child, is the most holy part of your rising. Not that you are seen, but that others remember they are too. This is what I meant when I said you were remembered. Not just in heaven, but on earth. Not just in private, but in public. Not just in survival, but in significance. Rise, my child, with peace, with presence, with purpose. Not to impress, but to embody. Not to chase, but to carry. The rise of the remembered has begun, and you, my beloved, were made for this, my beloved. Now that you rise, now that the doors are opening, now that the rooms are changing, there is one thing you must never forget. You cannot walk this new season without my spirit. You were never meant to live on momentum. You were meant to live by presence, not just my presence around you, but my spirit within you. Because what you're stepping into now will not be sustained by your gifts. It will be sustained by intimacy, the influence, the favor, the clarity. They are not the source. They are the fruit. The source is me. He is not a force. He is a friend. The Holy Spirit is not a wind to use. He is a voice to follow. He is not your backup plan. He is your guide. He is not a moment in worship. He is the breath in your lungs. He is not the last resort when you feel lost. He is the compass who never leaves. And I want you to stop seeing him as a concept. Stop waiting to feel him only in a sanctuary. Stop limiting him to spiritual highs. The Spirit, my Spirit, is your constant companion. You are never alone again. Not in boardrooms, not in quiet nights, not in heavy conversations, not in sacred decisions. He is there. You don't have to strive, just stay. Let me say this clearly. You don't have to strive to walk with the Spirit. You just have to stay close. Stay sensitive. Stay still when he nudges. Stay soft when he convicts. Stay surrendered when he redirects. He will lead you, always, in peace. Even when the path is new. Even when the steps feel small. He leads with conviction, not condemnation. He draws. He doesn't drive. He whispers. He doesn't shout. When your soul is tuned, even the faintest nudge becomes direction. You will begin to say, I don't know why, but I feel led to pause. I can't explain it, but I know I'm supposed to go there. That didn't feel right, and I know he's saying wait. That's not emotion, that's discernment, that's walking with the Spirit. He will speak, but you must make space. The Spirit has things to say, but he speaks best in rooms where silence is welcome. You've been surrounded by noise for so long, expectations, opinions, obligations. But now, I'm calling you to listen, to slow down, to breathe, to meet me early, not for performance, but for presence. The Spirit is speaking in the quiet, in the pause before the next big thing, in the margin you make when others are rushing, and what he whispers in the stillness will become the strength you carry in public. He will guide you, moment by moment. You don't need a 5-year plan when you have a 5-second response. When the Spirit says, speak, speak. When the Spirit says, wait, wait. When the Spirit says, release, release. When the Spirit says, trust, trust. You're not navigating this alone. You're not moving blindly. You're not groping for signs in the dark. The Spirit is light. The Spirit is clarity. The Spirit is counsel. And he will not just lead you. He will stay with you. He is not just for holy moments. He is for every moment. You don't need to understand everything. Just obey. Let go of needing to see the whole picture. Let go of needing to explain every step. Let go of trying to control every outcome. You walk with a guide, not a map. The Holy Spirit won't always show you the next 10 miles, but he'll show you the next 10 steps. And that's enough. Because he doesn't just know where you're going, he knows what's forming in you as you go. So even when you feel uncertain, when you feel delayed, when you feel behind, trust his presence more than your perception. Trust his voice more than your logic. Trust his timing more than your emotions. He is not late. He is leading. He will heal. What still hurts, my child? There are still places in you that ache, still thoughts that echo from past wounds, still fears that whisper in the night, and that's okay. The Spirit was not given to make you numb. He was given to make you whole. He's not ignoring your pain. He's inviting it into the light, to comfort, to counsel, to heal. Don't hide those places. Let the Spirit go there. Let Him touch what you've tried to fix on your own. Let Him speak to what you haven't even fully named. You don't need to perform healing. You just need to stay in His hands. He will empower, not exhaust. Everything I've called you to do, I've equipped you to do through my Spirit, not by might, not by power, but by my Spirit. You don't need to overthink it. You don't need to overwork it. You don't need to over-explain it. The Spirit empowers. He breathes on the small. He strengthens the tired. He fills what feels empty, and He multiplies what's yielded. So take the pressure off. You are not the source. You are the vessel, and the oil will continue to flow. As long as you stay connected to the source, the Spirit will keep you. Soft, you've seen how success can harden people, how delay can make hearts cold, how pain can turn love into walls. But my Spirit, He keeps your heart soft, soft enough to weep, soft enough to rejoice, soft enough to feel conviction, soft enough to love well, even when you've been wounded. Soft hearts carry the deepest power because they reflect me. So let Him keep your heart soft. Don't shut down. Don't grow numb. Don't protect yourself from the very place I'm trying to move in. Tenderness is not weakness, it's witness. It's what makes your presence a healing one. It's what makes your leadership different. It's what makes your life prophetic, because it shows me live led, not just inspired. Don't just visit the Spirit on Sundays. Live led by Him every day. Let Him into the boardroom. Let Him into the grocery store. Let Him into the hard decisions. Let Him into your parenting, your conversations, your art, your relationships. This is not a part-time relationship. This is the source of your strength. Live led, live yielded, live dependent. Because this season requires Spirit-filled people, not just gifted ones, guided ones, not just visible ones, vessels. Walking with the Spirit is your new normal. This is not a temporary season of intensity. This is your new normal. You will move from striving to flowing, from guessing to discerning, from reacting to responding. Because my Spirit is not a visitor. He is a resident. And from that place, all wisdom will flow, all clarity will come, all fruit will remain. So walk, my child. Walk slowly, walk humbly, walk fully filled. You are not stepping forward in your strength. You are stepping forward in mine. The Spirit walks with you, and as long as you stay surrendered, you will never again walk alone. My child, this is the moment you thought might never arrive. The time you whispered about with cautious hope, the promise that once felt so distant, so delayed, so fragile. It is no longer in the distance. It's here, not because you forced it, not because you proved yourself, but because I said it would come. And I do not lie, I do not tease, I do not forget. This is not just a good season, this is the appointed time. There is a difference between a good time and a God time. You've seen doors open before that didn't lead where you hoped. You've tasted moments that looked right but ended in stillness. That's because they weren't the appointed time. They were simply the available time. But what's happening now? This is my time. The doors opening now are not temporary, they are timed. The people entering now are not seasonal, they are sent. The opportunities presenting themselves now are not random, they are rooted in prophecy. I've timed this, not based on your calendar, but on your character. I waited until the strength I saw in you had grown to match the weight of what I've called you to carry. And now, It's time. Everything is converging. You'll begin to notice it. Things you once held separately are starting to intertwine. People from different chapters are resurfacing. Ideas you laid down are being awakened. Words spoken years ago are echoing again, but this time with movement. Everything is converging, not in chaos, in precision. It's not scattered anymore. It's strategic. I'm redeeming timelines. I'm resurrecting old dreams, Gamme, but with new maturity. I'm tying threads together that you thought were cut. Because this story is more connected than you ever realized. I've always been writing it. And now, I'm revealing it. What took years will now take moments. You've waited for so long that you forgot what sudden feels like. But I'm restoring that too. Suddenly, clarity. Suddenly, favor. Suddenly, the right conversation, the open door, the unexpected invitation. This is not rushing. This is redeeming. I'm compressing time, not because you're behind, but because you're ready. You no longer need to prove you've paid the price. You've already paid it. In hiddenness, in surrender, in faithfulness. And I will not waste the years. I will not leave you empty-handed. I will not delay one moment longer than necessary. The wait was not in vain. And now, what once took years will unfold in days. You'll know it by the peace. You've asked, but how will I know it's you? I'll tell you. Not by chaos, not by pressure, not by confusion. You will know it's me by peace. Peace will rest on your decisions. Peace will flood the unfamiliar spaces. Peace will whisper, "This is the way. Walk in it." You'll feel it settle. You'll feel it anchor you. You'll feel it calm every part of your soul that used to panic in the unknown. That's how you'll know. You're no longer guessing. You're guided. This is not favor. Without formation, you are not being thrown into the deep. You are being released after being forged in fire. This favor is not shallow. This influence is not hollow. This elevation is not inflated. It's earned in surrender. It's formed in silence. It's grounded in stillness. What others see now, the confidence, the grace, the authority, they came at a cost. And I honor the cost. I will not crown what I did not first crucify. And you let me crucify your pride, your fear, your need for validation, your impulse to strive. That's why I can trust you now. What is opening now, you won't need to strive to. There were times when you stepped into spaces that drained you because they required performance. This is different. You are not entering to earn. You are entering to embody. You are not walking in wondering if you belong. You are walking in as someone sent. You will not need to maintain this moment by hustle. You will maintain it by alignment. As long as you remain yielded, as long as you remain connected, as long as you remain in me, you will remain in your place. I am not just opening doors, I am closing them. Let me speak to the part of you that still looks backward, the part still trying to understand why some relationships dissolved, why some places dried up, why some doors slammed shut when you gave them your all. That was protection. Some doors had to close because they weren't yours. Some relationships had to end because they would have limited your voice. Some platforms had to vanish because they would have fed your performance instead of your presence. Let them go. I'm not just the God who opens doors, I'm the God who closes them with purpose. And the ones I shut, no man can open, but the ones I open, no one can shut. This is what you were made for. You've asked me for years, what is my purpose? What am I really here for? What was all the waiting for? And I say to you now, you're stepping into it. This is what I was shaping in you all along. The weight, the voice, the tenderness, the wisdom, the surrender. You were made for this moment, not for its visibility, but for its eternity. This isn't about being known by man. It's about being trusted by me. And I trust you now. This is not the end of the journey. It's the activation. This is not your destination. This is your deployment. You are not arriving. You are being activated. Everything you've walked through has trained your spirit for this. And you'll see it. You'll speak with new power. You'll discern with new clarity. You'll pray with new faith. You'll lead with new gentleness. This is not a new job. It's a new jurisdiction. You carry territory-taking grace now. Not to conquer, but to heal. Not to dominate, but to rebuild. Wherever your feet go, my kingdom will go with you. Steward, this time with honor, let me leave you with this. You've been trusted with time, appointed time. Steward it. Protect your rhythm. Nurture your joy. Guard your peace. Deepen your prayer. Stay rooted in me. Don't rush. Don't prove. Don't perform. Just walk with me. Let me show you how to hold what's holy. Let me show you how to carry what's costly. The appointed time is not a rush. It's a revelation. And it's here, now, for you. My child, now that you walk in what I have promised, now that the doors are open, now that you no longer question your place in the plan, I want to speak to your legacy. Because this is not just about what I'm doing through you. It's about what I'm building within you that will remain after you. You were not chosen just to be seen. You were chosen to make visible the unseen. Not to gather applause, but to plant seeds. Not to chase impact, but to carry eternity. This is what it means to live remembered, to walk in such surrender, such clarity, such presence, that heaven echoes through your life. Visibility is not the goal. Eternity is, let's be clear, you are not remembered because your name is known. You are remembered because your life reflects mine. That is the legacy I'm building in you. Not popularity, not platform, but presence-filled living. A life where strangers feel peace around you and don't know why. A life where atmospheres shift just because you arrived in obedience. A life where people who don't even believe in me start to feel something they can't explain because they encountered you. That is what it means to carry my glory. Not loud, not forced, just real. Your life will become a sign. You will become a living testimony that I don't forget. Your story will be a signpost to those still in their caves. Your obedience will be a blueprint for those learning to trust again. Your words will carry the weight of heaven because they were forged in stillness, not performance. People will watch your consistency and find hope for their own. They'll see how you walk with no need to impress, and remember that peace is possible. They'll hear your voice and recognize the sound of someone who has stayed near me. You won't even realize it, but the way you forgive, the way you carry peace, the way you stay soft in a hard world, will awaken the memory of me in people who forgot what love felt like. The next generation will walk on your yes. Let me show you something deeper. Your obedience doesn't end with you. There are people coming after you who will walk easier because of the road you paved. There are children, spiritual and natural, who will inherit wholeness instead of cycles. There are voices rising because you didn't silence yours in the cave. There are builders being born because you chose to stay when it was easier to quit. You've broken ground that others will plant in. You've stood your ground so others could run. And the legacy you leave behind will not be a title, but a trail. A trail of tears turned into oil, of silence turned into substance, of pain turned into presence. Your hidden years will speak the loudest. It won't be the rooms you stood in that echo the loudest. It will be the rooms no one saw you in, the prayers no one heard, the choices no one applauded, the forgiveness no one knew you offered. That's what will outlive you. Not the highlight reels, but the holy roots. That's what heaven measures. That's what angels mark. That's what demons recognize. Because the real authority didn't come from a spotlight. It came from your secret place. You will build what doesn't collapse. This rise was never about a moment. It was about becoming someone who can build something that lasts. I didn't raise you to peak. I raised you to plant. You will build homes, safe places where my presence rests. You will build communities, not based on trend, but on truth. You will build teams of people healed by your gentleness and sharpened by your discernment. You will build spaces, not for your name, but for my glory. And what you build will outlive you, because it's not built on sand. It's built on surrender. That's what makes a legacy unshakable. You will love without fear again. You've loved deeply. And at times you've lost deeply, but this new season will not repeat the pain. It will restore the joy. You will love without bracing for betrayal. You will trust without flinching from disappointment. You will walk in covenant, not convenience. You will be known and not feel exposed. You will be seen and not feel used. I'm healing your capacity to love again, fully, freely, faithfully. Because the legacy you leave will not just be about what you do, it will be about how you loved. Your name will carry weight, not for status but for safety. I want you to know your name will carry weight. Not celebrity weight, safety weight. People will hear your name and feel peace. They'll feel safe sharing their wounds. They'll feel safe being honest again. They'll feel safe drawing near to me, because they drew near to you. This is not about fame. This is about faithfulness, and the weight you carry will not be heavy, now it will be holy. Because it's not about your name being lifted, it's about your life becoming a place where others meet me. You will finish with joy. I am not just starting you strong. I am teaching you how to finish well. You will not burn out. You will not flame out. You will not fall under pressure, because you have learned to walk slowly, to live intimately, to move in rhythm with me. This is how joy stays. This is how peace remains. This is how legacy is built, one faithful, yielded day at a time. You won't just make an impact. You will make it from rest. You will finish with joy. You will finish with fire. You will finish with fruit that lasts long after you've gone. This is your new identity. Legacy bearer. You are no longer just a servant. You are a steward. You are no longer just a survivor. You are a sign. You are no longer just someone who stayed. You are someone who will be spoken about in heaven for generations. Because you didn't just walk through silence, you worshiped in it. You didn't just endure breaking, you embraced refining. You didn't just wait for the promise, you became the promise for others. So walk, my child, not for your name, not for your brand, not for the world's approval, but for legacy, for fruit, for heaven's applause. You are the one I remembered. And now, your life will help others remember me. This is what happens when heaven remembers. It creates a ripple that touches generations. A flame that doesn't flicker out. A name not written in lights mine but in my book. And that, my beloved, is the greatest legacy of all. You have been remembered. Now let your life make it impossible for the world to forget who I am. Amen.